Good afternoon and welcome to the Talk of the County, our second episode. We have a full house today. We've got Sean Baker from Forest Green. Good afternoon, Sean.
Afternoon, Dan.
We've got Dave Angel from Gloucester City. He's going to take the brunt of the stick, I reckon. Good afternoon, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm all right, Dan.
Good. And we've got a guest today, Chris Howes. He was a Cheltenham Town fan. He's come to back me up against these two. Good afternoon and welcome, Chris.
Cheers, Dan. Pleasure to be here.
Good. Right. So we got our second episode to get on with. So it should be a positive one today, guys. You know, we've all won. You know, it's not even a goal conceded amongst us.
Beautiful.
Happy
Oh,
days.
that's a rarity.
Brilliant. Right. So let's jump straight into it. We're going to start off with Cheltenham. And the reason we start off with Cheltenham because we are in the Football League, guys. So, you know, we're top of the tree.
All right.
Know your place.
Top of the tree, bottom of the pyramid.
Very true. Accrington Stanley at home yesterday. Cheltenham got their first league win of the season, a 1-0, and a much-needed 1-0 win. Before I bring Chris in, we've been asking some of the fans out there to send their thoughts in. Just a 36-minute clip. That would be a long pod.
Very precise.
A 30-second clip just to give their thoughts on the game. So we had one in from Mark Mayhem, and this is what Mark had to say about the game yesterday.
Hi, Mark here, Cheltenham fan for a long time. Watched the game yesterday against Accrington. Relieved that we've won. First game of the season, first victory of the season. A little bit disappointed we didn't score more goals because we never really looked like conceding, which was a positive for the defence. Really pleased for the fans who are very vocal about the season and about the way things are off the pitch. A lot of positives to come from that, I hope. Looking upwards from here.
So that was Mark's thoughts on the game. What was your thoughts on the game, Chris? How did you see the game pan out?
Well, before we get into the game, I wanted to mention the referee. Not because she was female, but because I thought she was absolutely excellent. Yeah. I think she's probably the best ref we've had in the last 2 years. So I wanted to make that clear from the off that I think she was brilliant.
She got most right yesterday, didn't she?
For me, she didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
I think she got every decision right, and that's a testament. The biggest compliment I can pay to the referee was you didn't really know she was there.
Yeah, I think the only one I think that maybe she didn't get right was I thought they should have been down to 10 men because obviously I set up in the main stand. And the challenge the ball was coming over and their centre half kind of gouged the eyes of Angel. That was, that's not just on the referee. That's her assistants need to help her with that, because of she would have been facing the play. But yeah, concur with what you say, Chris. I thought she was really good, and I think when you come out of a game, I say the biggest compliment you can pay an official if you're not talking about them after the game that they've had a good game.
Yeah, definitely. Onto the game, I thought Shering was a massive difference to the defence. We looked solid. One thing I did notice was they were targeting Freddie Wilcox from almost every set play. It was always going towards Freddie Wilcox. But I think he dealt with it really well. To be fair, I think he had an excellent game. You're a man of stats, Dan. I know you're putting a lot of effort into your stats this year. But the stats website that I like to go on, Who Scored, if anyone's wondering, he was our highest rated player at 7.85 on there, and that is a testament to how well he did. I don't think he was our best player from yesterday, but he certainly wasn't poor. He was excellent. But it was clear that they were targeting him at every given opportunity. But I felt that he dealt with that excellently. Ethan Archer was a player I wanted to touch on because I thought he was really poor in the first 15-20 minutes. But he definitely grew into the game with his move to Luton. You'd like to think that his head isn't getting turned anymore. He's on it. Now I think our worry might be he's nervous because he knows Luton are watching him. But time will tell on that. He did grow into the game, and he was good. Again, not one of the standout players for me. The standout player for me was Hutchinson, and I'm sure we're going to talk about him in greater detail shortly. The press was something that impressed me a lot more yesterday. I think we pressed a lot better from the front. And that made a big difference. We didn't really create many chances out of the press, but it was certainly more evident. We weren't holding back and not pressing until they passed the halfway line, for example, like we have done in recent games. That was a big thing for me. And I would have liked to have seen both Angol and Miller replaced a lot earlier than Miller got replaced. Angol was clearly tired after about 75 minutes. He should have come off then, and I would have liked to see what Tommy Taylor's got. But in that breath, I do understand why Flynn wouldn't have done it, bringing Taylor on for a league debut on a first loan in a game that is so important to us at that time. It was, with the results elsewhere, that it turned it into a must-win game, because every team down the bottom won, apart from Accrington, who we beat. So it turned it into an absolutely massive game. During the game, I thought, was there a lot of quality from either team? No. I don't think there was. It was scrappy at times. I think we had more chances, but were they quality chances? Probably not. They had one glaring opportunity that he should have scored, that Walton chance with the header. He has to score that, but thankfully for us, he didn't. And the one other clear chance that we had fell to probably the one player on the pitch you don't want it to fall to, and that's Scott Bennett. And he just smashed it straight into their player when he had 3/4 of a goal to aim at. But there we go. Overall, pleased to get 3 points on the board. We needed it. It's going to be a massive confidence boost to the lads, and roll on the next one at Crawley.
Yeah, no, I agree what you said. I said to Sean after the game, I said it was probably one of the most one-sided 1-0s you could probably have. But I also agree what you said, Chris. I actually said the same in a WhatsApp group I'm in. My only concern was, had Isaac Hutchinson not scored that worldie, would we have scored? Because I thought we got into some really good positions, especially down the flanks. I think Arkell, Jude Boyd, I thought we lost a bit when Arkell went off. But, mind you, that was his... he's coming back from a niggle. Right? He's not completed 90 minutes yet. But I thought we lost a bit when he went. But I thought Arkell got down there, right hand side really well. But and Archer did it in flashes. But the problem it was the end product. He was either getting a corner or wasn't beating the first man. You're right. The Scott Bennett one. It was disappointing because where I sit up in the main stand, I was sitting literally right on top of it. And he seemed to hang back. When you see sometimes where, like, a ball dropped to a player and the grain goes quiet because you're just waiting for him to hit it. It was like that sort of moment, but he just hung back. If he'd have gone straight at it, he hits it into an empty net. But you're right. It wasn't a striker's instinct. It was definitely a centre half strike. But yeah, I thought it was one-sided. I thought we'd thoroughly deserved the win. And as you said, that the confidence is going to get the lads because everybody did win around us. And I know it seems silly. 7 games in, we're talking about winning around us, but we've had a bad start. Let's not get away from it. If we can pick up a few points over the next few games, then you might be looking at last season and you're thinking, you're comfortably getting towards that mid-table and your angle to think about relegation and and what have you. But so we'll move on to the Isaac Hutchinson goal, and I'll just give you this little play here.
It is Hutchinson over the wall and in! Well, how about that for a debut goal for Isaac Hutchinson with exactly a minute on the clock?
So, yeah, what a goal. Again, where I sit in the ground, I said to my missus, and it's probably more tongue-in-cheek, but I went, this is going in. He's a big lad, and he's for a midfielder, he's a big, tall lad.
Yeah.
And just the way
Keeper should be saving it, though.
Do you know what? I actually agree with that. I think the keeper
Oh,
should save it.
I think you're being harsh, guys. I really do. I just think it was quality. I think they got the pace over it. And the reason I thought it was going in, Chris, was because it was a confidence he had. We know Luke Young's our set piece taker, and Luke put the ball down, and he just kind of just stood in there and was like, "I'm taking this."
Yeah.
It was a brilliant. What was your thoughts on the goal, Chris?
Well, I mean, he won the free kick. He got up and he took the free kick and he scored it. You can't ask for a better debut minute than that. Fantastic. Should the keeper have done better? Maybe, actually. I think maybe, because he is stood over that end of the goal as well. He jumped behind the wall to try and get that extra little bit over. The height that it went in at is a good height for a keeper. It wasn't top bins. It was halfway up the goal. Should the keeper have done better? Maybe, but to have the bottle to get up and score that, he's done really well.
I'm sticking by what I say. I think you're being harsh. I'm the keeper.
Yeah, I think that would be a little bit harsh. I was having a bit of a laugh, but we're Accrington
I
that
did
bad.
say maybe, to be fair. I did say maybe.
We're Accrington that bad because they haven't really been hammered, have they? They've only lost by
Accrington were really poor. Accrington were really poor. They didn't look like scoring at all. Their manager after the game absolutely tore bits into them publicly.
Oh, really?
I watched the interview with John Doolan, and he was not a happy bunny. One thing I will pick up from that interview, I don't know if you've seen it, Dan, but he said about us, they can't play in any other way than hitting it in the channel and up to Angol.
I think that's a fair comment.
I think it's a fair comment.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's a fair comment given our recent performances. We've shown against Exeter that isn't actually the case because we can play free-flowing football. But at the moment, that is our game. And I think it works against a team like Accrington.
Yeah, it does. And then I think, like Sean said, we're Accrington that poor. Again, sometimes I get annoyed when you're on social media and not with Cheltenham or Forest Green or anybody like that. It could be Premier League football and they say, "Oh, they were awful." But sometimes you've got to give the opponent some credit. But as well as we played, I still stick by, had that goal not gone in, I can't say we were scoring from open play. But
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah, you're right though. We at the moment we have only got one way of playing, and I think this is where they might change over the next few weeks now with Isaac Hutchinson, because I think a lot will go through him. But
on that, I was going to mention. Obviously, I mentioned stats earlier. Everything at the moment is going through Luke Young.
Yes.
He made 51 passes, and the next closest to him was Joe Day with 31, and that's probably goal kicks. The next closest outfield player was Hutchinson with 29 passes.
Yeah.
Interestingly, there were, I think, in total about 83, if I remember right, long balls played by us, which is just under half of all of our passes.
Yeah, so it tells its own story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You mentioned about Leanne Gall. I thought Leanne Gall was our man in the match. I agreed with the sponsors for a change. It would have been easy to give it to Isaac Hutchinson because of the goal. But I just thought Angola showed yesterday, and he showed it at Salford as well. Something we've been missing, just that strong striker to hold the ball up, and I thought he held it up well. But I agree with what you said. I thought he got tired in the last 15. It would have been nice to change it. But all in all, I thought Isaac Hutchinson had a really good game. Someone else, like I said, moving on. Someone else I thought who had a really good game, and I want to give a special mention for was Freddie Wilcox. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember going back to the days when we had Zach Kavitsa, like Savary Williams, and I've obviously been at Gloucester, Dave.
Both of them, yeah.
They had a lot of promise, but they stayed at promise, and you can only see by the way their careers have gone. And no disrespect that they haven't gone, apart from Ed Williams. Then you went to Doncaster.
Doncaster Rovers, yeah.
apart from all those players, like even Joe Hanks and what have you, they haven't got back into the Football League. Now, Freddie Wilcox, Harry Tustin, you got Mamed Diallo, you got Tom King. They're all around the first team. Sofra Obriere, who's on loan at Gloucester. I was talking to Dave before we went live. I said, the hopes I've got for that kid is unreal, because I've seen him in pre-season. Again, you can't take too much against pre-season, but you're still playing against men. And at 17, he was bullying men. He was turning men inside out. And we'll get on to Obieri a bit later when we speak to Dave. But the academy, what we're bringing through the players is really good. But Freddie Wilcox is so pleasing to see that we've seen glimpses in the cups and what have you, but it's so pleasing. He started the last 2 games at Salford against Accrington yesterday, and you know what you said, you're right. They was targeting him because they would have known he was fairly green. But to keep Paddy Madden, I know Paddy Madden's getting on a little bit now, but he's got the nous. He's scored a lot of goals at Football League level. He didn't get a sniff, got taken off in the end. So what was your thoughts on Freddie?
I thought like I said at the beginning, I thought he had a really good game. I think he was a bit lucky in Paddy Madden's not. He's not a 6'4" massive striker, and Freddie isn't the biggest in terms of centre backs. So I think that did him a bit of a favour. But he had a really good game, solid again, and like I say, he was the highest rated player on the ratings website that I use. And another thing I wanted to note about Freddie was passing. He had a 72% successful passing average, which was the highest of all of the defenders. Which he played the most long balls out of all of them at 10, but he also played the most successful long balls.
Yeah.
So his passing was solid in comparison with seasoned pros. Just going back to Angol, you said Angol was your man of the match. Shering was my man of the match. I thought he was absolutely sensational.
I can't argue with that.
Angol had a good game. I thought he was slightly quieter than he was in the game before, but he still had a good game. But Shering, I thought, made all the difference at the back for us.
Yeah, no, I can't argue that at all. Sean, what was your feeling when you seen Isaac Hutchinson scored in the first minute? Because I know you'd been watching at the New Lawn.
To be fair, no, I got your message, and I didn't. I was too engrossed in our game, to be fair, but I mean, it doesn't surprise me. But like I said, he had
did he come from Forest Green then? Did he?
Well,
No,
he had a little stint at Forest Green, but he didn't.
What's his
he was quite
background?
young. But he played at Walsall under Flynn, and I think that's where he probably had his best moment.
Right.
So I did say to Dan on Friday,
he's
like, if Flynn was going to get anything like out of him, it's probably going to be Flynn again. Which, I mean, it was a cracking free kick. Can't take anything away from that.
Yeah,
I don't know what else he's done in the game.
Like I said, that's probably the reason I didn't give him the man of the match. He was tidy, but you could tell he needs to get up to, and I'm sure Chris will agree, he needs to get up to match speed. He's been in and out of the far.
He didn't stand out. He wasn't a standout player.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, I don't think anyone in that game stood out for Cheltenham or Accrington. There wasn't a real standout player in the game. But we were solid. We were really solid.
Which was good. And just to answer Dave's question, he had 10 games on loan at Forest Green from Derby back in 2021. But to note, he's a goal-scoring midfielder. He's, for Walsall, he scored 19 in 90 games, scored 5 in 43 for Bristol Rovers. 2 of them have actually been this season. And nice to see them at the bottom, 1 in 1 for Cheltenham. So hopefully that continues. We'll move on to the last bit on Cheltenham. So Chris, Michael Flynn, in his interview on Friday, he did say that this week it's felt different around the club. The transfer window's closed. Ethan Archer has got his move to Luton, which, congratulations to him, but we've managed to keep him on loan till January. he did turn around and say it just feels different. He said even Ethan Archer seems different. The noise of the transfer saga going on in the background. Players now knowing that they're staying. We've got the players that he wants, and they are the players that he wants. I know that for a fact. So yeah, I think it's good to see that Michael Flynn's feeling a little bit more positive. Do you think the result yesterday buys him a little bit more time, considering we drew our last game as well now?
I think it does buy him time. I don't think Flynn is the issue at the club. Do I think he is the best manager in the league? No. But do I think that he knows what he's doing at this level? Yes, he certainly does.
What could the issue possibly be then?
We'll move on to that later, I'm sure.
Later, yeah.
Unfurl a banner any minute.
But that's a good point, because obviously, me and Sean spoke on Friday about it, and Sean gave his insight of how he feels about what it sounds like from the outside. What does it sound like coming from the Gloucester City point of view? What's the echoing sounding like down your end?
Obviously, when you look at the start of the season, I'm not going to make any bones about it. I'm sure we all look at each other's results and hope that like the other two lose.
I have to search quite a long time for Gloucester's, to be fair.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Yeah, but yeah, I got off to a tough start, but I always figured a win was round the corner. Flynn doesn't look like, again, it doesn't look like the worst manager in the world, but it does look like you've got. What really highlighted it for me was when John Palmer started making a few comments that were quite negative, and to me that speaks volumes that there's something intrinsically wrong in the club somewhere, because he's a very positive guy and he's a nice guy, and you don't often see him calling people out. And when he was making negative comments, I thought, ooh, something isn't good here, and I can only assume it will be dealt with.
That was Sean's view as well, wasn't it, Sean?
Yeah, that's what I said on Friday. Like, John's their sort of mouthpiece, and he's only ever really spoke like
Positively, yeah.
Yeah, positively. I was going to say professionally, but yeah, positively. And then as soon as he started coming out, like I said to Dan, I was checking his account just to make sure it was actually his account and not someone just making it up when they.
I was straight into his DMs asking him what he meant, but he didn't reply.
John's normally good at replying as well.
He is, yeah, he is normally. He strategically ignored this one.
Yeah,
look, I mean, been banned from the ground yet, Dan?
I was waiting for that as well.
Yeah, John's a good guy. He's like, and you're right. I know John very well, and he's not a BS person. And for John to be tweeting what he is just goes to show that he's not happy with what's going on. Because we've had. Don't forget, we had Martin Allen in charge at Cheltenham, and there was some going on between then and John. John wasn't as vocal as he is now, and Martin Allen, and arguably some of the allegedly things that went on behind the scenes were what's going on now. But we'll touch on that a bit later. So just to finish on you, Chris, do you think the results buy Michael Flynn a bit?
I mean, it buys him time, yes, definitely. We need to back that up now with another positive result. I mean, if you gave Cheltenham fans the option of picking up 4 points in the Accrington and Crawley game, I think we'd take it. Ideally, we want 6, obviously, but I think yes, it definitely buys him time if it's time that he needs.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for that, Chris. Right, we'll move on to the. I'm not sure if they're the second or third biggest club in the county, but they're definitely the second highest club in the county. We'll move on to Forest Green. So, Sean, a good 1-0 win yesterday. Mitchell first half goal. How did you see the game?
To be fair, I thought it was a good game. Hartlepool, they're probably the best side we have faced this season. Obviously, the table showed that as well. Looking at the comments from their manager, he was trying to say they had probably the better of, I think it was like the first half or something. I'm not quite, I'm not quite sure I'd go that far. I thought we were the better team. We definitely deserved to win it. when you look at the chances, I mean, for me, I would have probably said the Hartlepool keeper was probably man of the match. He pulled off a few really, really good saves. His kicking was atrocious, mind, but saving wise, he was really good and probably kept him in the game, and that's probably the only reason why it finished 1-0. Chances, like, they did create a few chances. Anything really good? I don't think they really tested McNicholas. I mean, they had one shot which went straight into him. They had another one which was a header which just went over the bar. But on the basis of the game, I'd say, yeah, we probably edged it and probably got what we deserved. It was just a shame we didn't score a few more. I mean, there was 2 moments in the game, going back to their keeper's kicking, where he went to clear the ball and it dropped. He kicked it straight to McAllister, who had a shot from almost, well, I wouldn't say almost halfway line, but it was a good 35, 40 yards out, I'd say, and he just put that over. And then there was one in the second half when he kicked it straight to Nick Orton, and he just sort of quickly snapped at it, and there was a defender back there, which he didn't go over him. But yeah, I thought their keeper was decent. He was decent, like I said, with the saving. It was just more the kicking. But yeah, I mean, we looked good again. I think we had 20 odd shots on goal, 12 plus corners. So I can't really grumble, to be fair.
So Owen, FGR fan, sent you a snippet in. Let's have a quick listen to what his views on the game and see if you agree. And there's some interesting stuff what he says in here.
Forest Green Rovers fan here. Just wanted to say that was one of the best performances I've saw defensively through this era of Robbie Savage. I thought the keeper played brilliantly. I thought the defenders played brilliantly. I thought Kanu had Reed in his pockets. I thought Moore Taylor had their number 11 in his pockets. I haven't saw much praise of it. I thought we should recognise that praise. I thought it was one of the best he's had in this season so far. And positives are coming. Feel like we could win the league if we do well with the next coming games.
So that's Owen's views.
Well,
do you agree with that, Sean?
Positive
most
young
of it.
man.
I mean, I don't want to be talking about winning a league at this early stage in the season. Obviously, we look good and we're in a good position. Like I said to you on Friday, I keep comparing us to like Barnet's results. So actually, I was having a look today to see how Barnet got on with their first 8 games, and they were on 15 points, whereas we're on 20. So shows you sort of what start we've had. Trey Pemberton, I'll give a special mention to. Right back, he's been brilliant since coming in. He did make a ridiculous challenge yesterday in the box, as in when I say ridiculous, I mean good. The way he got back and he just managed to stud the ball and stop anyone getting a shot off was like brilliant. And then he quickly got up and then he flung himself in the way of it again, and I think he clipped it and it went out for a corner. I mean, coming from Macclesfield and taking that step up, him and Mendy have been like phenomenal. I don't want to downplay Kengi. He's been good, but then to have just made the step up, like, I can't believe no one picked him up earlier. Reed, for them, obviously he was linked to us last year. I was a little bit disappointed with him. He didn't do a lot. To be fair, they didn't really give him much of a chance, Hartlepool. I thought he had a bit more pace than he did, but all he was doing was really just being an idiot all game. He was lying on the ball when the Forest Green players were trying to get it. He kept flinging himself down as if they were like hitting him just to try and get him booked. I think that was pretty much his game plan, was just trying to get people booked. So I was a little bit disappointed with him, but to be fair, the referee, I think, on the basis of it all, did okay. We've had a lot worse referees up there. But yeah, I mean, I always felt like the game was comfortable, although it was 1-0. I still just feel like we should have scored more.
Well, that's an interesting comment, because the next bit I was going to talk about was Robbie Savage after the game. he's pretty much echoed what you've been saying on X, Sean, for the first 7 games of the season, that Forest Green should have won by more. They didn't have the chances and the XP per goal. You should have had more. But there's a little snippet here what he said when he was interviewed after your game yesterday.
Absolutely magnificent. Proud of my boys. It was a different way to win today. I thought, they're a good side. They created a few problems, in midfield areas. I thought our gaps were too big. I said I wanted a basketball match, but I thought it was too end to end. We could have scored 3 or 4 in the first half, and so could they. Let's be totally honest. But the goal came. Great play from Nosey across Cairo. It's a great.
So. What I thought was interesting, what Robbie said is you found a different way to win today. So elaborate what he means by that.
Well, yeah, that obviously confused me, because obviously now if he had been talking about when we went up Halifax, it was a different way to win. We had to win ugly. Yesterday, I wouldn't have said it was a different way to win, because what we played, how we played yesterday, is, I would say, similar. I mean, yeah, they probably had a few more chances than what we've given other teams, but still, like I said, none of them, the keeper wasn't really tested. McNicholas did make 1 save, maybe 2, but none of them were phenomenal. Whereas their keeper, I would have said, made at least 2 worldies that I can remember. So I don't quite know what he's getting at with that, but that's his view on the game, I guess.
But that's football, isn't it? We all see different games. Me and you was having a go on X a couple of weeks ago when I think Cheltenham obviously played on the Friday. I watched your Eastleigh game. I saw a totally different first half to what you did, and it's just funny.
Yeah.
You see it different, don't you?
Thing is, you're really watching. I know you're watching the game, but you're really concentrating on your team and your players.
Yeah.
So maybe you do miss stuff. I mean,
It's
I
far
know what
easier
you said
to
about
get
the
a
midfield.
balance.
Hey?
I think it's far easier to get a balanced view when if you're watching a game that doesn't involve your team.
Yeah.
Because you're too into
But,
it.
I
And you
mean-
just can't look at it subjectively.
I know what he's saying about the midfield, obviously, because I sit right behind the dugout. So second half, he was bringing Bamber on, and he turned around and he was like, "We're going 5-3-2," which I thought was quite good, because he was bringing the extra one in and going 2 up top. So I was hoping. The thing with Bamber is he's a rapid player, but I keep saying to the lad who I sit next to, he's quick, but he takes time to get up to that top speed. So if someone plays a through ball and he's only got a short distance to run, he's not getting to the full speed. Whereas when you got someone like Gilly who's out injured, he's just rapid from the get go. So he just causes anyone sort of any old problems. I thought Tom Knowles again was great. It was almost his goal. Mitchell almost took it off the line. There's Harry Whitwell from West Brom. I mean, what a player. He's only a young lad on loan from West Brom, but he just looks brilliant. I mean, he was the one who started the goal. He picked the ball up in quite deep in our half. He pinched it. I think it was a poor pass from Hartlepool, and he ran in, pinched it, took it round the player, and he just had the whole pitch to run at. Then he played a nice, well, I say nice, an excellent little through ball to Knowlesy out wide, who just, again, had so much pace and so much space to run into. And then he almost, I ain't sure if he was shooting or, just putting it across goal, but Mitchell was there just to tap it in. But obviously we were chatting about Tom Knowles on Friday. Like I said, he just looks a completely different player from what, he had last season to what he's doing this season. I mean, his numbers speak for themselves already.
I thought it was his goal when I seen it, and then obviously when he sort of nicks it just before it goes up the line.
Well, yeah, at the game, I thought it was his goal, and then I saw Mitchell celebrating, and then today when I watch a replay, I had to rewatch it because I thought it was Knowles' goal. But then obviously you sort of see that Mitchell's just pinched it. But even Mitchell, I mean, Rochdale fans gave him some stick, and he's been great for us as well. I mean, I don't really think we've had anybody perform that badly this season. I mean, we've had a lot of really good performances, but everyone's been, pretty good in their own way.
How's Nick Horton playing?
Yeah, to be fair, he's been I feel a bit sorry for him because, it filed he was the main man, and then obviously he's come into Forest
We've come up
Green.
against him Yeah, we've come up against him a number of times over the last few seasons, and
You know,
I'd go as far to say I think he was the best player I've seen in non-league football.
yeah, I mean,
A
yesterday
couple of seasons ago, he was just unplayable.
I thought he was really good yesterday. I thought that was probably one of his better games for us. I mean, he sent one guy. I think he put it through his legs or something and sent him and just turned and just played a really nice ball out. It just seemed that every ball that drops to him on the edge of our box drops onto his left foot, where he's a right footer. So I'd like to see one drop onto his right foot and just see what he can do, because he never seems to score a tap in. So, but no, he like I said, he is what he is. Like I remember Robbie Savage saying a couple of games ago when we had a free kick around the edge of the box, and he was stepping up to take it. He was like, "This is why we brought him in." Like he's, I think he's a bit of a free kick specialist. If you look on his X account, I think he's got a couple of free kicks on there.
He scored a couple against us, and
yeah, I think he just needs a couple of goals. Probably his pace might let him down a little bit, because Robbie likes to play quite high, fast intensity football. So you look at all of our players he's been bringing in, a lot of them are all quick. So Horton, yeah, I mean, he's good to have. He's definitely, but I still don't think we've seen the best of him yet.
Yeah. Chris, just obviously get your view on Forest Green. What, as an outsider, and putting your non-biased hat on, what's your expectations of Forest Green this season? Because obviously we said on Friday about Robbie Savage. Even Forest Green fans were writing him off, saying, they thought it was more of just a marquee name. It wasn't, it was no sort of like no direction with it. But as me and Sean said, that doesn't seem to be the case at the moment, does it? It seems like he's doing really well.
Yeah, it does. I think their expectations have got to be top half minimum, and going up. It has got to be what they're looking at. I'm sure somewhere I saw a video of Savage in the crowd. Was that yesterday?
Yeah.
You wouldn't get that at a professional football club either, by the way. And although Cheltenham aren't a very professional football club either, by the sounds of it, but there we go.
Probably more likely to see the manager in the kit washing room, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly that. Why isn't he in the laundry room?
I tried to get him on today, but that's what he was doing. He said he's washing the kit.
No, I think, look, the younger fans won't like this, but I don't see Forest Green as a rival. It's always been Gloucester for me. Is the big rivalry. I wish Forest Green well. I think they should be looking to get back into the Football League, to be honest with you.
We're going to get, we're going to get pelters on this.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate.
Pelters.
I'm part of the old guard, I'm afraid.
No, you're right. Because I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said the same. They said there's more of a rivalry now between Cheltenham and Gloucester, and what they're ever Cheltenham and Forest Green, what there ever has been, because we're kind of fighting for that top spot, aren't we? And we've been in the same division and what have you. I think that more of the younger lads, I'm pretty sure Sean agreed. Same with Forest Green. A lot of the younger lads have turned it into a hatred rivalry, because that's all they've known. Where the likes of us, we're a bit older, and we can remember when Gloucester City and Cheltenham were getting 3,500, 4,000 when we was playing each other in the Southern League.
My first away game was Gloucester away, and I was about 10, I think, and it was absolutely terrifying.
When would that have been?
In early 90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah, I still say to this day, you take when we went up into the conference, and Gloucester, I think Gloucester lost and we drew. But had we lost, it could have been Gloucester City going up into the conference, and we could have never had the 27 years.
Like sliding doors moment that was.
That's football. That's football. But yeah. So anyway, let's move on to the next one. So top of the league, Sean. 8 games in, 20 points return. Obviously, admittedly, Rochdale have got a game in hand. They won 2-0 yesterday. Carlisle sitting third. Your favourite player, Regan Linney, scored again.
I know, yeah.
But we, as we touched on Friday, you got a tough run of games coming now, haven't you? You if you can get 90 minutes in your next game, you've done better than what Scunthorpe have in the last two.
To to be fair, like obviously when we spoke Friday, I put Hartlepool in the category of our next 8 games, where I was going to say that's 5. You know, there was 5 tough games. Well, that's 1 down.
Yeah.
I think now we've probably got 4 in 7 coming up. I think Scunthorpe, you know, they're going all right. I think that's going to be another tough game. Hoping, obviously, like I said before, I hope the game don't get called off in injury time, and it's got to be redone in that way. But yeah, I just want to, like I said, I don't want to get too carried away. I'm enjoying the football. I'm enjoying the results. I'm enjoying the league position. I'm obviously, if we're going to lose, I don't mind losing, playing the way we're playing. I think everyone pretty much says that. If you're going to lose, there's a way to lose and there's a way not to lose. And at the moment, yeah, I mean, just it's all going well. Like I said, obviously Savage in the crowd. I mean, that's, you know, I know a lot of people don't like it. I don't think even he's thinking we're winning the league yet. That's obviously his target. He has been quite open about that. But I think he just loves, you know, he loves like the social media side of it. He's bringing all that up, and he just does anything that's going to attract a bit of probably publicity, if you like.
But it shows he's also in touch, Sean, as well. You know, again, you know, I hope I don't get pelters on this for being too kind towards Forest Green here, but it's what you want to see as a football fan. You know, do those fans beyond that goal yesterday when Robbie Savage got in? You know, I said to my missus, I showed her the video. I said, "Look at this," and it's great. It's great to see it. You know, Chris saying, you know, but it's no coincidence that Forest Green have had the start they've had after a bit of negativity over the summer with Cops going and a bit of change and what have you. You've had a great start because I think it's showing it. Robbie Savage is pulling the club together pulling in the right direction, creating that bit of feel good factor. Chris Sutton is right. Let's see what happens if you lose the next 3 or 4 games. But I don't think, like as I said Friday, I don't think you'll get a change from Robbie Savage. I think he's just that sort of character. Let's not forget, he's an ex-Premier League player, an ex-international. He played 30-odd games for Wales. It's not as if, you know, no disrespect, it's not as if he's like came from Macclesfield and he's like, you've taken a punt on somebody who's never really had a chance in the professional game. He's a well-known name.
I think like the one thing you touched on there was like bringing it back together. Obviously, Cots caused a bit of a divide, not in the club, I mean, amongst fans. So obviously there was a few fans that weren't happy with the football, wanted him out. There was a few that was like, you know, he steadied the shit, he deserves a bit more time and all this sort of stuff. Obviously Dale took, well, whether it's Dale or the new director of football, Mark Bowen, who took that decision to change a manager, I don't know. But I was actually, just before we started this pod, I was actually reading up a little bit about what Robbie Savage was saying, and obviously he said everyone thought I was on social media, thought I was like a celebrity appointment. I didn't think he was a celebrity appointment. When I very, very first heard it, I was like, nah, we need someone a bit more established for what we want. But I'd say he's definitely proven me wrong. I've sort of, you know, I'm glad it was, yeah, I'm glad it was him that come in. He, like you said, he's sort of united the fans again. Like I think he's like people's kind of forgot about the Cots era, like the divide that was there, and he has brought the club back together. I mean, going in the crowd yesterday, I think I read somewhere, I think it was someone on our chat at Forest Green after was asking if anyone had any videos, because the kiddie got the phone off who does all the media apparently pressed record, and then when Robbie jumped in the crowd, he thought he was pressing record and he stopped it recording. So I think he was holding the phone, but obviously it wasn't recording, so they lost the video like in that way. So he was there with the phone in his hand, it wasn't even recording. So yeah, I mean, he is what he is. I don't think he'll change. Obviously, yeah, if we lose a game or 2, or even 3, yeah, he may not be going in the crowd because his mood probably change, and he'd probably be trying to rip the players a little bit. But like, he's just I think just the way he is. Like, everyone says it's all for publicity, but before games he's walking around the fan zone like green man, shaking everyone's hand as he's having a chat. None of that's being
I think that's
recorded or
just him, isn't
posted.
it? He just comes. He's always come across as a sort of like a likable, bubbly character, and I mean, I don't think there's a chance that a large reason he got the job was because he's a name, because that's what Dale Vince does, doesn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
we go back, Troy Deeney, Duncan Ferguson. He likes to be in the news. He likes to be in the
Yeah, he does. I mean,
papers. But if you appoint enough of them, you're going to strike lucky sooner or later.
Yeah.
And I think
Robbie
Robbie Savage could be that man, because he's got a good football pedigree, and he seems like he's willing to play the sort of the PR game as well. Whereas I can't imagine
yeah,
you can't
mean-
imagine Duncan Ferguson hugging fans in the stand, can you really?
no. I mean, don't get me wrong. And Dan, I know, like, I'm not Dale's biggest fan.
You know,
No, I don't want to go into any of it, but I don't agree with hardly anything he does, to be
no,
honest.
I don't know.
But one thing the one thing I will say about him is he is genuine, like a man of his word. If he says something, he normally does it. And I think, like, you know, he got some pelters for when he put Hannah in charge of the first team for a friendly. They're going, oh, that was a publicity stunt. I was chatting to someone yesterday, actually, at the ground, and I said, but she was the most qualified person at the club. There was nobody else there to take charge of that game at that moment. So
See,
maybe
no, though, wouldn't you?
Do you think if there had been a slightly more qualified person that was male,
well, I
he'd
mean,
have
that's,
chosen them, or do you think he'd have chosen there because it made the newspapers?
well, I mean, yeah, maybe.
I'd
I
go
don't know.
with the latter,
Like there could
but,
be that element into it. Like I said, from where we are, there wasn't. I mean, I think she's at Man City now. She's got some sort of job at Man City. But then there was like the Troy Deeney one, which again, everyone was like, oh, that's like a publicity thing. I don't quite think it probably was. He come in as like a player coach under David Horseman. Obviously, I think part of the agreement when he came in was like, if the job ever comes available, he'd get a shot at it. I think Dale said it himself in an interview, like he wasn't expecting the job to come available as quick as it did. Like David Horseman was a really nice guy, spoke really well. Like I could listen to his interviews all day, but on the pitch, like it was atrocious. You couldn't, there was nothing. So they made the change. And then I think that's where Dale was a man of his word and he sort of gave it to Deeney. But, you know, again, like he's done something there which maybe he's got pelted for it. I don't believe he's solely done that for thing. I think he was just a man of his word. But then I think Deeney caused a bit of issues at the club, some of the stuff that he was saying. And that's where Dale then made the change again. I mean, I don't even want to go down the Duncan Ferguson route. I mean, that may have been a big appointment. I mean, that one did have a bit of a PR to it because of the way that he had him stood there with like 2 veggie burgers before like the thing. And he was getting in, you know, it was like that was all sort of play acted a little bit. But Robbie Savage, I genuinely think, I heard, I think it was his boy Dane along when we went along Slimbridge at pre-season. And someone was talking to him about the appointment of Savage, and they did genuinely believe he was going to be a cracking appointment. Like I could only hear bits of the conversation, but he was like, "Oh no, we've definitely picked the right one here." Like I think through like I don't know, if he even had an interview process, but through his conversations, I think they just kind of knew what he was going to be bringing in. Dale's known him for a long time because obviously we had his boy. So Savage kind of knew the club. He'd obviously sat with Dale when his boy was on loan and things like that. So I don't know. Like I said, I think disappointment. Dale's, like you said, he's finally got one right. If you keep appointing them, at some point you're gonna hit the nail on the head, aren't you? So
Yeah.
Hopefully, like I said, it can carry on. I mean, we look good at the moment, but we know football can change pretty quick.
Yeah, spot on. And just moving on to these two are coming side by side, really. On Saturday, it was a good thing from the club. Sean, 400 free shirts given out to children.
To a fan, that's great.
Yeah, if you're a
Till
fan.
you see the shirts.
Yeah, I think the parents are telling them it was Cheltenham shirts, but they've gone green this season or something.
To be fair, like again, that's like an incentive that he's done now for probably the best part of 10 years.
It's a great thing to be able to do, but it's just to be able to afford to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
certainly the
like,
likes of us, and probably the likes of Cheltenham before Mr. Garlick rocked up. It's just not an option to give that level of money away.
no, I mean,
But if you can do it, you'd do it, wouldn't you?
he's done it for a thing. And again, going back to that, I mean, when that first got brought out, I think they'd done some research, and it was like about what age do like majority of kids choose their football team, and it was around that year 3 sort of age. So the incentive behind it is, instead of going to your Premier League teams, is trying to give them an incentive to come up to your local team and support your local team, and try and get more fans in, down the lower leagues rather than at the top end where they don't really need it. I think it's good. Like, obviously, it's like a long process from this summit they've been doing for years. I mean, I've seen a couple of fans from like Cheltenham. I think his name's Darren. Just saying that he walked through Cheltenham town centre and he didn't see one Cheltenham shirt. And actually, a mate of mine at work said that to me the other week. He said, I went to Cheltenham today. He said, I never saw one Cheltenham shirt. He said, but you go around Stroud, he said, and you see him, like, kids wearing like shirts, and that's probably for that 400 reason. But
And the fact you
Like,
can
I
see
don't
them
know.
from 800 yards.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know about Gloucester. I mean, if you see any shirts around Gloucester, I don't think I've ever seen one. But
No, I
Yeah,
don't.
what do you boys think? Do you think?
you're seeing more and more? I think it's
You do. You got to take that as a pinch of salt, because funny enough, when Darren put that out there, I was in Cheltenham myself that day, and I'm sat at home with my Cheltenham shirt on, but I didn't have a Cheltenham shirt walking through the town centre. You're probably walking past hundreds of Cheltenham fans you don't know, but I think you've got to take that with a pinch of salt, because you could probably turn it there. If you went through Cheltenham on a Saturday, you will see loads of people. I drive from the ground down into pretty much heading down towards town and around. And Chris will tell you, when you're driving down through the town, it is literally streams of fans.
Streams of Cheltenham
Almost
fans, yeah.
everybody who leaves Wadden Road are heading towards the town area.
Yeah.
But on a Tuesday, it's, when I think Darren, I think somebody replied to Darren and said, "Did you have your Cheltenham shirt on, mate?" He didn't reply.
Yeah, but I think, like, my point was, do you think the club could do more to maybe
100%. And
advertise
Yeah,
it in the
definitely.
town?
Yeah, we could definitely do a lot more. And we could do a lot more marketing in the town centre. That's a big problem.
Well,
That's the
what
club.
we'd do is we're just finishing on this one. We're going to Gloucester, and obviously we know we're going to finish on the negative part of Cheltenham. We'll chuck this conversation in because it's actually good points to make. So with those 400 free shirts, like I said, it is a good incentive. No matter who you support, and Dave's right. If your club can afford to do it, it's a great way to get shirts out there to the fans. It don't matter. If I took my kids to the game on Saturday, and as you know, I go every week, and I would buy a shirt every summer. But if I went to the kids on Saturday and Cheltenham went, "Hey, here's your 4 doors, Dan. Here's a shirt for him," I'd be snapping their hand off. It's a great incentive. And I think what I also did on Saturday, Sean, is you had probably almost your highest attendance of the season, 2,800, 120 of them from Hartlepool. So it brings people to the game. But the thing is, they've given 400 shirts. You've won the game, and if you said it, and Robbie Savage has said it. It's been end-to-end football. Those fans will go away, even if only 100 of those kids go away and go to their parents, going, "I want to go back next week." That's 100 kids. Maybe 200 parents, because if both parents go, so that's an extra 300 on the gate you're gaining, and it's a good from an
It
ASOP
is,
good thing.
but for me, like, sometimes I think you're getting an incentive there, but because of who he is, he deters a lot of people from coming up to the club. I mean, I was chatting to a couple of people before the game yesterday, a couple of my mates. Never see him up there. And I was chatting to them, and they would literally come up because it was a free shirt giveaway. They got a free ticket with a shirt, and they would, like, I don't want to go explicit on here, but they weren't very, coming towards Dale. But then nor am I. But then, like I said, I was there before Dale.
Yeah,
you'll be there after Dale as well.
Exactly. I'm there during and I'm there after. For me, I don't agree with anything he does. Like I said, I don't want to even bring politics onto this pod or, the Palestine stuff. I don't like it being up at the club. I want to make that clear. I hate it. It really winds me up. But I just go for the football. And that is...
Although
be
it's
all and end
a
all.
stupid thing to say for somebody who supports a team that's currently languishing in the Southern Premier South when you've been in League One, League Two, you're still well above us, a couple of divisions above us. But I actually feel quite sorry for the old time Forest Green fans to have their club taken away from them to the extent that he has. I
Yeah.
mean, for
You
new
know,
fans,
obviously,
it
I
was
started going up
marvellous.
in
Just rocked up.
2006, and we had like the black and white stripes, the old badge. But it was like, again, it's like at the fans forum, someone actually brought that up. Like, oh, do you reckon we get a black and white shirt back? And his
Never.
reply is
Not
like,
released there.
oh, we're thinking of bringing out a Palestine shirt. And it's just like,
No,
it's
no,
like,
Wow.
just get a grip. Like,
no.
just stop. And the thing is, and
I bet they do
this is
that
where
as
I
well.
feel
That wouldn't
sorry for Robbie
surprise me in the league.
Savage, because the bloke's brilliant and he's doing all he can to try and get people up there and back up there, but it's just not going to happen. It just isn't going to happen. I mean, I know I have banter on X with a lot of people and, with attendances and things like that, but our attendance will only ever be what it will be, just purely because of him. Like I said, and I've said it a million times, you look at Wrexham, they were getting barely 2,000 fans in the National League at one point.
Yeah.
You had Hollywood come in, and now I'm pretty certain they've got waiting lists for like season tickets and
yeah.
things like that. And that's what you can do with the right owners.
Yeah, they keep 1,000 tickets by for every game for American fans to come over. That's how big they've grown their fan base in
We
America.
do that. We do that as well. Nobody ever turns up, but we keep them by. Just in case.
but just from my view, and I'll get Chris's view as well, as an outsider, and I do think it's a good thing what Dale's doing, because and this is not saying disrespectful, and I'm sure people like yourself, Sean, who are switched on football fans who as put the banter aside, will also know that there's facts and realism. Forest Green are a village club, and they've had a massive shoot up the levels. Well, I say you haven't gone massive, you've gone from the conference, but in terms of it wasn't long ago. Let's say what we took in 20 years ago at Forest Green, were getting reprieves in the conference to getting into League One. Now looking to build a brand new stadium, and you got state of the art training facilities. So some of the stuff what Dale is doing is great, and that will help you in the future to have a more sustained fan base. But I get what you're saying. If what you just said there, like I said, we don't want to bring politics onto a pod. If what you just said there was said at a fans forum, funny enough, me and a couple of Cheltenham fans were having a chat about Forest Green yesterday because we was talking about this pod at the game. And the one thing you mentioned there about what goes around the hoardings, I'm not going to give it any air, but what goes around the hoardings on a match day, the one fan who's like me, goes week in, week out, goes up and down the country. He said, if that happened to this club, he said, I would stop going. He said, because it's not got a place in football. Football is where idiots like us get together, have a chat.
It's where you go to get away from it.
Of course,
Yeah, exactly. This is that's exactly what I say, Chris. You work all week. You want to forget all what's going on, say around the world or whatever. You go to football, and that for people is a break. You go there, and it's great.
Place you want,
but with us, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Going on about obviously what you said about around the hoardings, that's what I mean. It's getting over the top. The problem is he's doing it because he's getting people talking about it. Now, obviously, and it's ain't a dig like anybody, but obviously it's a lot of Cheltenham fans have been tweeting me, and they're the ones talking about it. And I keep saying to him, you're giving him what he wants. I won't talk about it. I don't want to give him that. Like, I don't mind having banter and things, but when it comes to things like that, I get it. I hate it, but I won't talk about it on X. I try to steer clear of all that side of it.
Yeah. No, that's a fair comment. Like I said, let's not give it any more air than it deserves. It doesn't deserve any air time.
But going back to the good side of what you said, he's done a lot of good for the club as well. But I just feel the bad outweighs the good. Like you said, the training ground, the 400 free shirts, the stadium, things like that. Like for me, the stadium, they do a lot of good off. Like the one thing Forest Green are really good at is off the field. They get a lot of revenue, like sponsorships and all that sort of side of it. They're excellent at that, and
he's a very clever man. Very clever man.
Yeah,
I don't like
is.
him,
Yeah,
but nobody can deny he's very good at what he does. He's an excellent marketeer, isn't he?
You don't go from living in the field in a trailer to becoming a multi-millionaire for being stupid, do you?
But like I said, like the whole point of moving it there is like 1 for access, 2 it opens up the catchment area to like your Barclay or
Gloucester.
your Cam, even like Hardwick and stuff. I mean, Quedgley, Kingsway, you've got a massive east
All
in
right,
terms.
all right.
I'm just trying to make us sound massive here. Hang on. But no, that's what I mean. There's a lot of good, but there's more bad, I think, and that is why our attendance will always be what it is.
Yeah. No, I agree. Right. Sure, Sean. We'll go down even further down there. We're getting cold. We're getting cold feet next. We're down in the Southern League now. But we're going to. Would you say the county's second biggest side, Dave?
If you go back in history, to my mind, but I'm going to be biased, but I'd say so. When I first started watching football, Cheltenham and Gloucester was the biggest local derby. Forest Green were getting about 100 in the Hellenic League. I know things have changed, but things can change back in time. You never know. I mean, I remember Oldham, Luton in the top division playing at Anfield, and then I remember them being in non-league. Things change, but at the moment we are languishing in the Southern League, and hopefully not for too much longer.
Well, let's get started on you guys. So Dorchester at home yesterday, a 2-0 win, and Gloucester City go top of the Southern League Premier. How did you see the game, Dave?
Started really brightly, scored after 12 minutes, well-worked goal, and looked pretty comfortable. I mean, I actually, they had a really good chance apparently in the first 2 minutes where Joey Parker, who used to play for us, was clean through and lobbed the keeper and it dropped the wrong side of the post. But I missed that because I was counting the money from selling the programmes. So, we looked pretty comfortable. Second half, when you're 1-0 up and the 50 minutes, 60 minutes, and it's always, you start to think, the chances we've missed, are we going to regret it? And then they get a penalty and you think, yeah, we are going to regret it. But Jared Thompson diving down to his right, made a fantastic save. Second penalty save, 2 penalty saves in a week.
It's going to save us 2 in a row, isn't it?
Yeah, you saved one away in the FA Cup down at Dorchester on Tuesday and saved one yesterday. And I think their heads sort of dropped after that. I think they realised they might have blown their chance. And then, we got the second one. Sops Obieri did well down the left, beat his man, got the wrong side of him.
Good player. Really good player.
He's got massive potential, I think. He's gonna be a very good player. Currently, he's still very raw, feeling his way in men's football, though he's strong for his age, without a doubt. When everybody's fit, realistically, probably not first choice at the moment, but he's certainly an excellent player to have in the squad. He did really well yesterday, came on, won a penalty. Hanksy put it away and, put the game to bed.
Brilliant. So that takes you top of the league.
Very briefly, unfortunately, because we're not playing on Tuesday, and a couple of the teams right behind us are playing each other, and unfortunately, one of them's got to get points or at least one each. So, we will be giving up our place on the top on Tuesday.
Looking at your league table,
very
the top
tight.
9 is only split between. I know it's still early days, but the top 9 is only split between 3 points.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy because last season, like the National League South and the North, it was all
the
like
National
that.
League South, I think, was the ridiculous one.
16 points in the last day could win the league.
Right into the last game of the season.
I think it's brilliant.
It is, but you'd be gutted if you didn't make it up in that.
Well, I think our division is going to be a very competitive one this season. Last year, Merthyr and sort of run away with it, and then Tottenham had a go, but there was never going to be either of them with quite a long while left. It was going to win it. I think it's going to be a lot tighter this year. I can see it going right down to the last few games to decide who actually wins it.
But I look at, as Sean just said, looking at the table, I look at the teams in your division, apart from Havant and Waterloo, because like you said, Merthyr went up last season. Tottenham, with all the money, went up last season.
Yeah.
Was in the playoff final to
Farnham are the new Tottenham. They've got
They
a
got
very rich backer.
Yeah,
So they got
they're the ones that
two.
had Peter Crouch there yesterday, hadn't
Yeah,
they?
they did. They
Yeah,
got
I was going to
2,000.
mention that.
2007
He was a scout. Yeah.
2,134. Their ground only holds 2,200. So
I don't, yeah. Oh, obviously, I would imagine the Peter Crouch effect had a bearing on that.
Without a doubt.
But apart from
He was a mascot as a forfeit, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he was older than years. And
You got Weymouth and Dorchester and Havant, but there's a lot of clubs that I mean, you when we were relegated into that division, you look who you're playing next week, and if you don't know the team, you normally know where the place is. But sometimes I literally had to look on the map because I'd never even bloody heard of it. I mean, what's a Hamwell? What's a Wimborne? But you are where you deserve to be, aren't you? And that's the division we're in.
Exactly.
Taunton used to have a bit of backing as well, didn't they? At one point, I don't know if they still Taunton Town.
Taunton, yeah. They
used to get
come down, haven't they? They've come down here. They come down Taunton, haven't they?
They were in our division last season.
Are they not in there now then?
They finished about they finished about 10th, I think, last season, just outside the playoffs.
Yeah, they used to get a bit of back in there, didn't they? And they used to get half decent attendances as well.
Yeah.
The season before then, Taunton dropped down out the south.
Yeah, they were National League South previously. I think they got relegated possibly the same year as us.
Yeah, you're right. It was the same season as you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, I look at the table. And you'll know it more than I do, Dave. But like I said, Weymouth have had an awful start, and I've seen this week players being let go. There's 3 players that have left the club at Weymouth. This
Not quite sure what's going there. You just when you look at the teams, you expect them to be at the top just simply because the name of the team. But when you look at the players they've got, it wouldn't surprise me if they went down again. It really wouldn't.
Well, they've got Steve Claridge in charge now, haven't they?
He's back. Yeah,
he's gone back, is he?
Yeah,
legend of Weymouth. I like Weymouth. I like the places and all. I've just come back from holiday from there, but
well, I've just booked a B&B going down for. We got FA Cup next Saturday, and then we've got Weymouth away the weekend after. So I'm down for the weekend down there. So
good. So yeah, 2-0 win yesterday. Obviously, Harry Pinchard, player of the month for Gloucester. How's he doing? He had a trial with Cheltenham in the summer, and I thought on the ball he looked really good. I was disappointed, Dave, that we let him go back when we did, because of what I said on another pod, on the Roberts Report pod, was if we're going to bring players in from Gloucester on trial, let's not test them against Bishopscleave and against Worcester. Let's test them against Bristol City and Swansea.
Yeah.
But we let him go.
I mean, obviously, I was absolutely delighted he came back because he's an excellent player, one of our better players. He's also a really nice lad, and I'd like to see him succeed in what he wants to do. He'd obviously like to be a professional footballer. So if he ever made his way up the ladder and played professionally, then I'd be really pleased for him. I'd prefer it not being with Cheltenham or Forest Green, but if it was, then it was. But yeah, I'm glad he's back. He's an excellent player. He's a steady, always 7, 8 out of 10, never lets you down, chips in with some important goals. And I think he's one of our most important players because he breaks lines. He'll pick the ball up off the centre backs, and he'll run at people, and he'll just get you going forward and make things happen. Yeah, I rate him highly. He's an excellent young player because you forget how young he is. He's still only about 23, isn't he? So,
is that how old he is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I think he was harshly sent back a bit earlier. But I'm not a professional manager. They see it in training. They I think what Michael Flynn said, he goes, regardless if you play 2 or 3 games on trial, you need to make an impact on those games. Not when you're playing Bishopscleave and you're Worcester, you're looking on par with those players. You need to stand out.
Yeah.
So I get that. I would just like to have seen him.
Look at Jake Bickerstaff, for example.
Yeah,
in his trial game, he stood out.
Yeah,
he scored. So yeah, that's what Flynn was looking for.
He's not had a chance, really, is he?
Well, no.
But yeah, and then we said about how important Joe Hanks is to you guys. Joe Hanks is, again, I can remember his goal at Bury for Cheltenham on the opening day, unbelievable goal. A player who I thought might get back in the Football League or at least play conference, but he seems.
Would he want it? Because he's a policeman.
There you go. He's
got a career. He wants to play part time.
Yeah.
What would be the motivation for somebody who's a copper to jack it in? So I mean, with all due respect, if he made it as a professional footballer in League Two or even League One or the National League, he's not going to earn. He's not going to make the Championship or the Premiership, is he? So the
No,
Premier League. So he's why would you want it? There's an awful lot of very good players who play part-time football because they've got a career. And
we just had Ryan Ames last season. Or I know he had a knee injury, and that's been hampering him for a long time now. But Cheltenham offered him a deal which I think was quite low, because he was going to be a sort of a bit part player, but he turned it down, went to Brackley, because he's quite an avid photographer, and I think he's got a business in photography. So he's obviously
Yeah.
looking to play part time and take on
yeah.
a career. So
Well, if you've got a decent job and you can earn yourselves 400-500 quid a week playing part-time football and the rest at some clubs, then you're not doing it bad, are you? Really?
no,
And the same reason, Stuart Fleetwood, he was at Forest Green, went up to like Cheltenham. I think he dropped back down because he wanted to pursue another career in something else.
He's a PT instructor, Phil. Stu is.
he's just over new in town now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He was my all-time favourite player. Obviously, before the Dale era,
yeah.
he was like unbelievable. Then he was there for one season, made the step up,
Yeah.
and just never heard much more on him. And then
Yeah,
obviously he
loads
slowly
of
dropped back
Chris.
down.
Yeah, he had loads of spell. That's Chris, didn't he? I tell you, was that from Brighton? Because he went from Charlton to Brighton, didn't he? And then come on loan with Cheltenham. He played like 6 or 7 games, and then went back. But you're right, he was a goal scorer. Funny about my best mate, his brother played at youth level with him. Said he was just unreal finisher.
You're like John Palmer. You are. You can change any Gloucester City conversation over to Cheltenham Town.
I'm trying not to, honestly. But when you're talking the county, a lot of our players have played for.
Yeah.
Because one thing I'm, and this is not guaranteed, but one thing I'm open to do is trying to get Danny Wright on here. At one point, he's played for all 3 clubs. So what
I absolutely love about Danny Wright? He's played for all 3 clubs, but you know where he goes on a Saturday with all his kids in the kit.
Yeah,
he's there every week.
I've been told that. He's been at Cheltenham a couple of times, but I've been told
to be fair, he lives about 200 yards from our ground, doesn't he? So it's,
no, he's top load, Danny.
He was indeed.
But yeah, good. So you've, another player for Gloucester City is Kieran Thomas. That is one player who I think is playing well below his level. I know he's getting on a bit now. He's getting on, but he's 29 now.
29, yeah.
But I can remember when Cheltenham took him up to Rotherham with the first team in the Mark Yates era. And obviously, I know the family.
Yeah.
And I always knew
Martin,
Rags. I know him quite well. And when he went with Cheltenham, I obviously the things are torn. There was a little story I was told that apparently he was training with the first team. He went in hard on Cade Mohammed at the time. He was at Cheltenham, and never Forest Green, Forest Green as well. Cade Mohammed at the time, and taking the expletives out, Cade Mohammed said, "What are you doing?" with a few expletives in. And he said, "I'm here to impress." And apparently, it didn't impress Mark Yates because he went in.
That's just the way he plays. So you never take that out of his game. He tackles like a train, doesn't he? And that's you couldn't take it away from his game.
Promotion was Finneford. He's been to Western. I think he's had a good stint at Western. He'd obviously on the last day on the playoffs, and then he's back with you.
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah. His brother's a good player as well. He was man of the match and scored yesterday, didn't he?
He had a long spell at you as well, didn't he, Luke?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Again, Cheltenham, the only one who's missing out now is Forest Green. You might get him in a season or two, Sean. But yeah, a very good player. Is he started well for you guys?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, he's captain. He's team captain. Hank's his club captain, and I think I've got the right way around. And yeah, he's been very, very solid. He plays on a right wing back with either Harry Emmett or Dylan Jones as the other wing back. We'd be playing with 3 centre backs most of the time, but although we've had an injury to Ben Richards Everton lately, so he's been changing it about a bit. But Dav Williams, he's a very good tactical manager. He tailors the side to who we're playing, and previous managers, maybe a few of them, didn't really change things, but he definitely thinks very deeply about the game and puts a lot of preparation in, and plays various different formations. But
Yep. So moving on to the last part of the Gloucester City chat, these two probably go hand in hand. So your attendance on Saturday was 1,090. Your average so far, I know we're early in the season, but your average is 1,100, which is, it has showed that the budget Gloucester City have got compared to a lot of sides. I know we talk about Farham's attendance on Saturday, but Peter Craig was there. I should imagine that drawn a few.
Yeah. I don't think they worried too much about the crowds through the gate to get their money to pay the players. I think they're Mr. Hugo sorts that out for them.
So, like I said, average 1,100 is good. So, what's going on around the club, Dave? What's Gloucester's ambitions? Obviously, the ambition is going to be get back in the Conference North. But what's the ambition for Gloucester as a whole?
We got a really good guy in charge. We've had a bit of a turbulent time over a few seasons with a few interesting characters at the helm, but we got Colin Taylor as chairman now, and he's just a genuinely good guy. He's got the club's interest at heart. He's got a good manager in, and we just need to get out of this division. Really, this is a tough division to get out of. You Tottenham go, Farnham arrive. You get these clubs, and the lower down the pyramid you go, the easier it is for somebody with a few quid to make a massive impact.
Yeah.
We need to get back to the National League, really, and then consolidate, and then look, what we've always wanted, just kick on. But it's a catch-22, isn't it? You need the big crowds to kick on. You need the success, maybe a cup run, which we sorely lack. Maybe a cup run would do it, but yeah, we just need that bit of rub of the green, I think, really, just to get the momentum going.
Was it Leighton Orient the last time you had a good cup run? Was that when you was playing at Warden Road, or was it Port Vale?
Yeah, I think probably Leighton Orient. We played at Warden Road. We played Leighton Orient and Fleetwood Town.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, we're dreadful in the FA Cup, but got Chippenham on Saturday. Yeah, get through that, and who knows?
Start looking. Probably the only time I've ever felt sorry for Gloucester City, and I don't know whether Chris has as well.
I've never felt sorry for Gloucester City.
The only time I ever felt sorry for you guys was a season you was romping. You was top of the league, and then COVID hit.
Yeah,
and it looked like that season it could have been a year that you might have challenged. You had a good,
but in hindsight, that was all built on money.
Of course, it was,
and that money, not too long after, disappeared. So maybe in the grand scheme of things, it might have not been the best thing that happened, because it could have been the ruination of the club if we'd have gone up and had even greater obligations financially, and then that money disappeared. So
yeah. Okay, so that's the chat of the three local sides. Unfortunately for Sean and Dave, we're going to finish on Cheltenham for the before we go on to next weekend's predictions, because there's a lot of noise coming out of the Robins at the moment. And
we keep talking about Cheltenham, mate. We're going to have to stick you in Malibus's basement, mate.
Well, hopefully I'll be happy, Sean, when it all calms down and we're there we just talk about the result and we can move on. I don't like all of this noise. But this is open for everybody now. It's not just specifically just to Chris, and it's for you, Sean and Dave. So obviously yesterday, a couple of weeks ago, there was noise of the fans wanting Michael Flynn out. And like I said, a very credible journalist has put a couple of tweets out, which has obviously got everybody rocking, and probably confirmed what a lot of people already knew. But sometimes when it comes from somebody who's, like I said, as credible as this journalist, it's sort of like swayed it from, I think, Flynn's now being left alone, because I think, as we spoke about last week, washing the kit and stuff like that, which is absolutely horrendous.
It's abhorrent, mate. Absolutely abhorrent having your manager wash your kit.
No, exactly. And me and Sean was doing
at our level.
Yeah, of course it is. And don't get me wrong, Chris, these things happen, in terms of kit men leave. But as me and Sean said, you're a professional football club. You can get somebody in on a part-time basis because obviously I also know as well, I've been told this by managers, that actually managers like to meet the kit man, because that person is the one they've got to trust in their dressing room. and they don't want to just have any Tom, Dick and Harry in there. You imagine if Sean got the job, he'd be spreading rumours left, right and centre.
Mate, honestly, like, we've had so much stick for being vegan and all these inflatable bloody pigs and whatever. I hope an away team brings a load of like washing powder to your ground. Just start shaking a load of Daz and Ariel at you.
I'll be very disappointed if you guys ain't doing that if we play you next season, that's for sure.
I might just turn up in the away end with it if no one else does it.
Tap into the old tannoy and play the old Purcell advert on there. But yeah, obviously it's all come out about that. But obviously the focus yesterday turned on the Gary Johnson. There was a lot of banners what went out with Johnson out. I think probably for about 85 minutes, the whole ground were singing. They wanted Gary Johnson out. At times I couldn't really hear what was being said, but it got louder and louder, especially after Cheltenham scored. That was basically being sang all game, and I looked up into the director's box around about 20 minutes. It must have been fate that I looked at that moment, but Gary Johnson and his wife got up and they left the game. Whether they was expecting something after the game, he was going to get nasty, or just the fact that he was getting fed up and he was being ridiculed all game. Like, so we was winning, there was times we was attacking. So I'll open this up to the floor. So we'll start with Chris as a Cheltenham fan, but what's your general feeling about that, Chris?
I mean, if John doesn't make that tweet, everyone's still on Flynn's back. I will say that. Without John putting his neck out, let's be honest, because he has, everyone would still be on Flynn's back, in my opinion. And I don't believe it is Flynn's fault. I didn't believe it was Flynn's fault before JP's tweets. It is clear that for a long time, Gary Johnson has not been doing his job properly. That's clear from John's tweets. Do I think Gary Johnson should be at our club? No. Should he be brought in the first place? No. And the same goes for his brother. He was chased out of Torquay. Let's be honest. Why a professional club decided to bring him in is beyond me. Given his record, when he was with us previously as manager, it's exactly the same. He brought in God knows how many players. Yes, there were some good ones, like Mo Issa, for example, but that's always the go-to. And Paul Baker is not helping the situation for himself. He's saying that, that Gary Johnson's got this club so much money. It's all based on Mo Issa, because Mo Issa's the only one that really made a lot of money. And yes, it made a lot of money, but it's still going back to that. Ethan Archer, well, if Gary Johnson is trying to take the credit for Luton offering Ethan Archer back to us on loan, I'm sorry, but that is ridiculous.
That's only until January as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he's with us until January because Luton offered him back to us. Luton have done that with a lot of their young signings. They've offered them back to the club. And Gary Johnson on the radio trying to take all the credit for that is beyond silly. Michael Flynn, in my opinion, has been sold down the river. Aaron Downs, I think, is the wrong man for the job. Aaron Downs has done absolutely nothing wrong, by the way, but he's the wrong man for the job. So, in my opinion, Michael Flynn is very similar in terms of management style to Darryl Clark. They're not coaches. They need a coach. Adam Murray was with Darryl Clark, and Dan, you will attest to this. When Adam Murray was at our club, the football was brilliant.
Yeah,
we played some really, really good football, and the second Adam Murray left the club, the football slowly disappeared. Flynn needs someone like Adam Murray, a proper coach. Aaron Downs is not a proper coach, in my opinion. But yeah, no, I don't think Gary Johnson should be at our club. Will he remain at our club? Probably. I'll be honest with you. I think Mike Garlick will change it at the end of the season. That's my opinion. Just the same as I think David Bloxham will be replaced at the end of the season. Probably not by Mike Garlick, but he will bring someone else in to run the football inside of things. Mostly because Mike Garlick isn't based in the area. and he still does have other business interests and another 2 football clubs to run. So I think he'll bring someone else in. And I think Gary Johnson and his brother will both leave at the end of the season. That's my opinion. If it happens sooner, great. I couldn't be happier with that.
No, I concur. I said I think Mike Garlick, if anybody thought Mike Garlick was going to come in and go, goodbye Bloxham, goodbye X, Y, and Z, then I think you're mistaken. I think what he'd do is he'd do a full audit of the football club, and then at the end of the season, you might hear that such and such has stood down. Thank you for your efforts, blah, blah, blah. And he'd bring his own board in. You know, you would have had the same at Forest Green, Sean. You know, when Dale Vince come in, you know, people would have left. Dale Vince would have brought people in he could trust. And I know you said yourself, you've had that revolving door with director of football and all that. But, you know, you seem to have got the right man now in the position.
Well, yeah, you say that. I mean, obviously, I've heard Dale's quite hard to work with. Obviously, we got through a couple of CEOs and things like that. It's Boyd Dane's now the CEO. I think that says its own story. But, I mean, I can't grumble at what he's done. I mean, he's updated fans more regularly than most of the others.
Oh, I was talking more about your director of football who coming over the summer.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I mean, Mark Bowen was obviously, I think, vastly experienced in that sort of sector. So there was a lot of high hopes when he came. I mean, there was also a bit of negativity around the betting side of things. There was a few fans, but at the moment, it seems to have paid off. So,
yeah. But it shows the importance to have a good...
too early. It's still too early, really, to say.
Yeah, no, it does show the importance to have a good...
But going to Gary Johnson, I thought, I mean, when you got him back, I thought that was a bit of shrewd business, because I thought he knows the lower leagues.
Me too.
I don't know as much as obviously you two. Obviously, I'm not there, and I know I take the mickey and things like that. But obviously, he knows the lower leagues. He was vastly experienced. I know your budget wasn't very big. Like I thought, perhaps, you know, do you reckon his hands have been tied behind his back a little bit with that side of it?
But that's his job, isn't it? His job is if the budget, say, and this is just a figure, the budget's £2 million, he has to work within that budget.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And he spent all that budget and still didn't have enough players.
Yeah.
But like I said, you two will know more than sort of me. I just thought it was like a shrewd bit of business. But yeah, I mean, obviously now you can see that.
I think, Sean, I don't think it's because you're spot on. I said the exact same thing when we appointed him. His knowledge and contacts in League One, League Two, and even his Championship will be second to none. But I think trouble is with what is perceived is what Gary Johnson brings behind the scenes. Now, I won't go too much into it, but I know a player who left. I won't say his name, but I know a player who left who basically as good as said, I would have stayed if it hadn't been for a certain person.
Yeah.
Gary Johnson. It's what Gary Johnson does. If he likes you, you do well. You see you're good. If he doesn't like you, which a couple of players, like some people say about Scott Bennett, and this is not facts, this is something I've kind of worked out myself, and I think it's very factual. Scott Bennett was brought on for half a game, started the game against Gillingham, and went off at half time and didn't play for the rest of the season. But what that triggered a new deal for Scott Bennett, because he knew, and this is what I think Flynn knew, is come the summer, he wanted to keep Tom Bradbury, he wanted to keep Ryan Haynes, but a certain Gary Johnson, I don't think, wanted to keep those players. So that would have been the same with Scott Bennett. If Scott Bennett wouldn't have triggered that deal, Gary Johnson, I don't think, would have offered Scott Bennett enough to stay. And I know Scott Bennett gets a lot of stick at Cheltenham, but quite unfairly, in my opinion. Michael Flynn trusts him. So why wouldn't you want a player you can trust? And to be fair, he's been back for Salford, he's been back for Accrington, and he's been absolutely brilliant, Sean. And I just think sometimes that if you've got a director of football who wants to do it his own way, rather than working with a manager, it's a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
Yeah. They definitely need to have a good relationship.
Yeah. So
and they got to be on the same page, but
obviously I'm conscious that the
Daines is actually a Gary Johnson man, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's another thing. I've got to say that. I don't know whether you mentioned it, Chris.
I didn't.
Aaron Daines came in before Michael Flynn. And then the club were coming out and saying that, oh, Aaron Downes has come in and, we asked Michael Flynn his opinion. Well, Aaron Downes was working with Gary Johnson at Torquay. Aaron Downes was brought into Cheltenham by Gary Johnson when he was a player. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to work out who put that deal in place. Michael Flynn, again, he just goes to show that Michael Flynn's having his arms tied behind his back, because when a manager comes in, we all know that Michael Flynn would have wanted Wayne Atwell. And
Yeah, he always had Wayne Atwell, the most famous own goal specialist.
Yeah, but they come out and said he was working when Wales set up. But Wales, there's coaches around the country.
He's assistant manager at Newport now.
Yeah, he's assistant manager at Newport now. But there's all around the country, coaches work with the national setup, but they'll with national setup. I'm not saying England, but national setup. But we'll work with local clubs as well. But with clubs, because it's a full-time job. So you put all that together, it just tells you that there's
ultimately Gary Johnson said no.
Yeah, exactly that. And like I said, I got nothing against Aaron Downes. I think he's a great bloke and what have you, but I also can't argue whatever people are saying. Before I move on to the predictions next week, because I'm conscious that we're getting on, we had Tyler from the 1887 Red Army sending a message, and this is what he thought on yesterday's game.
Hiya lads, Tyler here from 1887 Red Army. Just a quick one on my thoughts from the protest of Gary Johnson yesterday. Personally, I thought they were absolutely spot on, especially when we had the whole ground chanting, pretty much the whole ground, and it was just getting louder and louder and louder. And the times that the banners came out, I thought that was spot on, because it didn't disrupt the game too much. It was also, you had the mix of backing the team and also getting your voices heard, which was absolutely spot on. And the result yesterday also was great to go with it. And also all fans conducting themselves in a very good fashion, unlike the other week, unfortunately. But that's in the past now. And yeah, I thought yesterday was spot on all round, all day. And look forward to the next home game.
So that was Tyler's view. I've also got something from Tom Stanford. Like, everybody would see that Tom put a letter. I don't know whether Dave and Sean, I don't know if you've seen it. He put a big open letter to Mike Garlick.
No, didn't see that.
So he put a letter out basically saying that disgruntled Abe. Do you know, this isn't just about Cheltenham. This is football fans and all. Like Sean was just saying about Upper Forest Green. It's some things are good, but people ain't going because of certain reasons. And I think it's a massive thing in football as a whole. He basically put in his letter that, fans are, just to like halftime entertainment. Cheltenham used to have a crossbar challenge. I don't know whether Forest Green have it. I don't know whether Gloucester have it. Cheltenham used to have a crossbar challenge. They used to have, Wadney going around, right? Wadney's been around for the last couple of games, but we paid nearly £70,000 for a scoreboard. The fans did. They put a crowdfunder together to get a scoreboard. For the first half a season it was there. They were showing glories of days gone by in the Millennium Stadium, Wembley, winning the league and what have you. All weekend there was advertisement. I get the club's got to use it for advertisement, but it's just like, thank you. You paid £70,000. We give you a year of it. We're just going to use it for our own thing now. And it's like going back to what Sean said about Forest Green. It's just like certain people are just, they want to fit it their way and nobody else's way. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, we've had those experiences really in the past few seasons, but I'd say we're in a very good position with that lately, because you very much feel like the current chairman is pretty much a fan, and that's how he started out, coaching youth, successful businessman, and now he's chairman. But he's so very approachable, and it just feels like a fan's in charge, which is all you can ask for, I think, really.
Yeah, he'll understand it. It'd be there. Like, obviously, going like what I was saying earlier, Robbie Savage, great. He's worked up as well. Like, I was reading a thing earlier, and he was coaching like under 13s team, getting up early in the morning, and he went to Macclesfield. Like, he's a grafter, and I think everything he's doing is perfect. I just think he's fighting a losing battle with us, with Dale in charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I would say is I 100% agree with Tyler there in what he said. The way the protest was done yesterday was done. It was done in the right way.
Yeah, it was, and like I said, there's nothing against protest. It's just do it right. There's no need for abuse or anything like that. I think what they've done yesterday. I've always said I don't agree with it in games. I think you should back the team, but what they did yesterday was brilliant. It was loud. It was respectful, but it got the message across with the banners and what have you.
Thing is, you could do it towards the end of a game. So, like, majority of the game's been done.
Yeah.
And then you can start your protest, because the chances are that I know you get late goals and things like that, but
Especially at
there's a
Cheltenham,
time
to
to
be
do
fair.
it. And if you do it right at the end of the game, you're still going to get your feelings known.
Yeah, no,
With
no,
majority of the game being played.
I agree. And like last 10 minutes, get making noise and stay after the game. When that grain starts to empty, it echoes more. So and the boardroom's only the opposite side to where they are. But I'm not going to moan a bit, because I thought that they done brilliant yesterday. And like I agree with what Chris says. It was done respectful. Right, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna stay with Dave. We'll start with Gloucester City first. You got Chippenham in the FA Trophy, FA Cup. Was it FA Cup or FA Trophy?
We're not in the FA Trophy yet.
FA Cup.
It's the FA Cup. Yeah. Qualifying round.
You questioned earlier.
I think this is the last round before the National League clubs come in. So if we get through this, we'll be in the hat with Mr. Vince's Forest Green Rovers. I think we will beat Chippenham. They're a division above us, but they're languishing, I think, second or third from bottom. I think we'll beat them 3-1.
Well, you played each other 14 times. Gloucester won 6, Chippenham won 7, and there's been 1 draw. Your last meeting was actually in the FA Trophy, and it was 5-3 to Chippenham.
Yeah, we were in a really, really bad place then. Really bad place. So
what was your prediction, Dave?
3-1 City.
3-1 City. Chris?
For the Cheltenham game?
No, for Gloucester Chippenham.
For the Gloucester game, I'll go 2-1 Gloucester.
Sean?
Yeah, it should be a good game, to be fair. I was just looking to see where they were, and they're 22nd.
They won't be relishing coming to us. Be a decent crowd. We've got a really, really good record at home. We haven't lost for a long time at Meadow Park.
I'll go
in a competitive game.
I'll go 1-1. Nice and boring.
Do you know what? I was going to go the same. Did it go to a replay, or is it straight to extra?
It will go. Yeah, we'll go to a replay on Tuesday night at
Chippenham. Yeah, I gone 1-1 then. So Dave and Chris with wins, me and Sean with a draw. Yeah. So right on to Forest Green. So Forest Green are owned to Scunthorpe. As Sean mentioned Forest Green earlier. Scunthorpe earlier. If they can get through 90 minutes, then they've done well. And we shouldn't joke about it, because it was down to 2 bad injuries. But you played 7 times, Sean. Yeah. Scunthorpe have won 3. There's been no draws, and Forest Green have won 4. How do you see the game going?
Well, I think it'll be a toughish game. We haven't conceded a goal at home yet. I'm going to assume that the 2 players that they've had drop out won't be available. I've gone for a 3-0 Forest Green win.
Okay. What do you think, Dave?
We're literally 90 minutes away from smashing someone like 6-0. So Scunthorpe are going to get
Really?
half of it.
In that case, I'm going to go for Forest Green 6-0. I'm going to take Sean's expert advice on the grounds that I've
Just
got no
don't put
idea.
any money on it.
Just remember, an hour and a half into the pod, Sean saying that someone's going to get smashed 6-0. So we've got to bring this out if Forest Green are going to get done 6-0.
Yeah, I've bookmark that.
So what did you go with, Dave?
6-0.
You're going to go with 6-0.
I'm going to go with 6-0, yeah.
Go on, Chris. What's your prediction for Forest Green Saturday?
2-1 defeat.
Ooh.
What was that?
2-1 defeat.
2-1 defeat.
2-1 defeat.
I'm actually going to...
Seem surprised by that, Sean.
Well, I thought you said Gloucester was his rivals.
I'm actually going to go with, as much as I would like to sit back here next Sunday and Forest Green are taking an every 3-0 thumping or something like that, but I can see Forest Green winning this one 2-1. I think they got a couple of injuries now, as Sean alluded on, and I think that they've got more other than the two obvious. But I can see Forest Green winning 2-1 because it's at home. It'd be a bit different if it was up at Glanford Park, but I'll go 2-1. The last meeting between the two sides was actually, which I've got it on the other page there with me.
That's it.
April 22,
April 22. What was the score, Sean?
1-0.
There you go. It's a good job you had that. 'Cause I've got to write it down. And
I think they've also had 3 draws. I think it's similar to Hartlepool. I think it's like 3 wins and 3 draws.
Yeah,
in the last 6 games or something like that.
I'll confirm that now for you. I'll confirm at the end. So Cheltenham then got guys. I don't know whether you get this down at your level, Dave. We're on Sky 12:30 kickoff.
What's Sky?
Oh, you got this DAZN.
DAZN, yeah, that's a place to be.
Dodgy Fire Stick's the place to be. Watch Cheltenham at 3 p.m.
Yeah, so
I'm rooting for the opposition every week watching Cheltenham when if I can't go away.
So we got Crawley Town. We're away 12:30 kickoff, like I said, on Sky. Cheltenham and Crawley have played each other 12 times. And there's been Crawley wins 5, Cheltenham 6, and there's been 1 draw. The last time the two teams played was at the People's Pension Stadium. Cheltenham lost 1-0. That was in COVID, so nobody was there. And then the last time we played them at Warden Road was in October 2020, where Cheltenham had a 2-0 win. Unfortunately, they won yesterday. As Chris said, everybody around us seemed to have won.
Who scored?
For Crawley, I know Ryan Loft got sent off.
Yeah,
Reece
Brown
Brain.
scored.
Reece Brain.
Ex-FGR.
That's right, because the last ex-Forest Green player he played against us got sent off for barring it. But yeah, Ryan Loft got sent off as well, so that's actually good news. I'm feeling more positive. I think with the injuries coming back, I think he said Harry Powell will be back. I think Rob Cundy will be back. So Mazionis, who's coming back from international duty again. Dave, do you get any internationals at your level?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, quite a lot of games off.
On the dodgy stick again.
What's that? International weather fronts call your game off day today.
All right.
So we can have a bit of like banter, guys. So we got Mazionis back from international duty, so we got a pretty strong back four, so no excuses. We've run out, Chris. I'm going to start with you, Chris. How do you see next Saturday going?
I'm going to go with a 2-0 win. I think we're going to keep another clean sheet, and I think we're going to score 2 goals. Don't know where they're coming from, but I think we're going to score them.
Well, that's the positive one. So I'll go to the Forest Green and Gloucester fan next. I'm sure that they'll weigh it up a bit better. Sean?
Well, Crawley have surprised me because they've actually, looking at their team, they've actually got some half decent players like that. Shamanga, that was it. Swindon, he scored a lot of goals for like Boreham Wood.
Is that the guy who was at MK Dons as well?
No,
Kabongo Tishimanga. Is that Kabongo Tishimanga or whatever his name is?
Yeah,
I don't know if he was at MK Dons. He was at Peterborough.
He made his when he was really young. He was on. I think if he was at MK Dons and it's the same guy, he was on loan to Corby Town. If any of you can quickly Google that, and he played against us. We played Corby away, and he scored. He absolutely was amazing. He scored a hat trick against us.
You're right, Dave. 2015. He scored.
He scored. He was just only a kid. He was only a kid.
He's a tidy player, but then they've obviously got Harry McCurdy as well.
He was at Swindon. Wasn't
he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't a bad player, and they've obviously got Reece Brain. I mean, on his day, he's a good player, and they signed Danny Cashman, who I was actually hoping that Forest Green would try and sign when he was leaving. So I'm gonna put my neck on the line, and I'm gonna say a Crawley win, 3-1.
Oh,
3.
Is it away?
That's away. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1.
But just a quick fact for Dave is he scored 5 goals for Corby, and just think 3 of them come against you.
He did, yeah. I think they were in the first half as well.
I actually like him. Sean's right. I like Teshaminga. I wanted Cheltenham to sign him in the summer.
Yeah.
I think he would a great player. He scored against us for Swindon last season. But I've always liked him. But he's right. He kind of peaked at Bournemouth, went to Peterborough, didn't really work out there. Went back to Bournemouth on a loan spell, scored 7 and 16, but he scored 11 and 39 for Swindon last year. Yet 1 goal for Crawley this season. Dave, your prediction?
I'm going to go for him to get his second goal on it in a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. I'm going to go positive. I think I generally think when all Cheltenham centre halves are fit, I think we've actually got a strong back line. And it's going to look a lot better next Saturday. I'm going to go for a narrow 1-0 win. Yeah, so it's no surprise that 2 Cheltenham fans have gone for a win, and Forest Green predict us to get tumped, and Dave's being very kind with a 1-1.
I don't know why I'm being kind. After all the stick I've been getting.
It's been good to have you on, Dave. So that's a good place to leave it. Chris?
Quite impressed I managed to eat a full roast dinner during...
You didn't put it down on mute. We could hear you munching, Dave. Anyway, Chris, thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Sean, good to have you on. And thanks for co-hosting it. But hope you get tumped on the weekend, mate.
To be fair, mate, on a positive, my predictions are never very good, so that's a good sign for you boys.
Yeah, good, true. And I'm your host, Daniel Hopkins. On a weekend where Forest Green stays top, Gloucester City go top, and Cheltenham go off the bottom. See you next week.